let's talk about different movies like iRobot. I remember Prometheus. I remember Terminator. Right, so all these really cool AI envisioning. A lot of it also talks a lot about the creators, right? Who created these robots? Every robot has a creator. And in the sense, or in the case of robots, in this case, is roboticists. So they're the ones who program, who create, who basically give the robots a life. And we understand that robots do have a lot of limits compared to what they are trying to become, which are humans. And that's the reason why we have sort of harmonized human bodies with robots who've really strengthened that understanding. And this is all reflected in your work, Amelia and the Machine, when the most beautiful part of it for me was just that opening scene, right? With the person just sort of like subtly touching the robot arm. And that's it. Like having this connection of a life form and a robot form still was able to create something so beautiful that I think I've never really seen before. And it's not just in the movies anymore, it's actually on stage. So well done for that, by the way. That was a really, really great way to kind of understand your work, just exploring that intimacy, something that robots still cannot do that humans can. So now the idea this is that in contrary to roboticists thinking about movement, the external way in, right? What do you think? In what ways do you think can choreographers think more like a computer? So really flipping the agenda around, and you work with a lot of computer scientists and programmers. Is there something there that you can share, like a secret, to help choreographers think a little bit more like computers? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, the secret's out in the open in that we already do think like computers. I think we just don't think of, because computers and coding in particular tend to be so text based. We don't think of that way because we don't usually write down a dance in the like in a like a word sort of sense. We might notate it, but even that, there's not an established like everyone notates the same way, right? We have Laban and we have Benesh, but no, like not every choreographer knows or uses that, right? So yeah, so there's this like gap maybe in that how we notate dance is very much more embodied. We remember it, or we give a visual like you're the second dancer on the left in this video. Learn it. Like that happens all the time now. Or like I've have friends who have been like, "Oh, I'm on my way to an audition." They're on the subway trying to learn the choreography off their phone because the agent sent it to them at the last minute.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, so we already think programmatically, we just don't notate it programmatically, I think is the issue. So I think a lot of this, even in like a really simple dance composition class, we have like motif and development, right? That's like a building block of how most choreographers work. So we have this idea of like, let's create a gesture, and then we might be like, okay, now we're going to change this gesture by adding a quality or changing the speed or putting it on a different body part. Well, that's totally like a function and parameters in programming, right? That's totally like, here's a task, like draw a rectangle, now make it red, now turn it 90 degrees. Like we already do think in the same way. We just don't have the language component or the notational component that is almost like forefront in coding, I think, because you need like a textual form usually to tell the computer what to do. So I think as if we can like as choreographers realize we have systems in place that actually do very similar computational things, then we can bridge that gap a bit more. And I think there's even times when dance is even better at some computational things. So, for example, well, I have two examples. One is there's this sort of like area of theoretical computing where it's all looking at like embodied hierarchies, right? So you have this one group, and there's like a clear like leader in that group, and everyone's sort of taking cues off of that. I'm already describing it as people, see, and it's supposed to be like a theoretical computing thing. And then there's another group, right, that's taking cues off of that person, but that lead person's taking cues off the other group, right? All these embedded hierarchies, which actually you can, I'm already doing it. I can like see it as a dance, right? Like this person is in this group and this person's in this group, but this person's cueing from here. And then, right? But actually to tell a computer to do that is like insanely difficult, right? Because then they have to like understand their own environment first, and then understand the interrelationships of the other environments. And that takes a lot of programming, but you can tell dancers to do that somehow. It's dancers already know where they are and their interrelationships with the other dancers. So there's like some concepts from computing that computing can't even do yet, but dancers can do really easily.